Welcome to the deep dive. We're tackling the evolution of mobile events today.
Exciting topic.
We've got a really interesting stack of articles here,
Yeah.
tracing the journey from like those clunky old phones we used to lug around.
I still have mine somewhere.
I know, right? To the incredible smartphone-powered events we see now.
It's mind-blowing how much has changed.
Totally. Think of us as your guides, pulling out the most fascinating bits from all this wording material and hopefully sparking a conversation you won't find anywhere else.
I love that. It really is incredible to think we've gone from like those printed event programs, remember those?
Oh, yeah.
To having a personalized interactive experience.
Right in your pocket.
Yeah, incredible.
Right. One article actually took us back to the days of the Nokia 5210.
Oh, wow.
Those things were indestructible.
The battery lasted for days.
Battery for days, yeah. But let's be honest, not very smart.
It really highlights just how dramatically our expectations have changed, you know?
Yeah.
Back then, mobile at events was practically non-existent.
Yeah.
Today, can't imagine an event without it.
It's true. I actually remember digging through my bag to find those like crumpled event maps.
Oh, yeah?
Trying to navigate these massive conference centers.
The good old days.
Those are the days. But I'm getting off track. This one article really gets into how the iPhone's release back in 2007 completely changed the game.
Absolutely. It wasn't just a new phone. It was a total game changer.
Yeah.
Suddenly, everyone had a tiny computer in their pocket.
Right.
And that obviously had huge implications for how events were planned and experienced.
It did.
Mobile event apps, you know,
Yeah.
real-time updates, live streaming,
Nice.
even like augmented reality experiences starting to pop up.
Wow.
The way we design, experience, and share events completely transformed by this technology.
And it's interesting, right? Because while all this new technology brought a ton of convenience for attendees, like instant access to information, it also created a whole new set of challenges for event organizers.
Oh, absolutely.
What were some of those early growing pains as events tried to adapt to, what felt like constantly evolving tech?
Well, I think one of the biggest hurdles, and to some extent it's still a challenge today,
Yeah.
is data management. You see, with smartphones came an explosion of data.
Oh, yeah.
Attendee preferences, engagement metrics, it was a whole new world.
Makes sense.
Organizers had to adapt incredibly quickly, not just to collect all this data,
Right.
but to actually use it in a meaningful way. To personalize those experiences and demonstrate actual ROI for the event.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
You touched on personalized experiences, and there's this article here from CrowdComs that talks about how smartphones have become like a central part of the entire event journey, from registration to networking to accessing information and giving feedback in real time.
It's not just about showing up anymore. It's about active participation.
Exactly.
Big difference.
It is.
Event organizers had to shift their whole approach, move away from simply delivering content
Yeah.
to creating engaging interactive experiences that actually leverage the power of mobile technology.
That's so true.
Things like interactive polls during sessions, live Q&A with speakers through event apps, even gamified experiences,
Yeah.
to encourage networking and make things more fun.
It's like we've gamified the whole event experience.
We kind of have.
It really makes you wonder, with things like foldable phones and wearable tech already out there,
Yeah.
what's the next big thing that's going to shake up events?
It's an exciting time to think about it.
It is.
We're already seeing the line between physical and digital starting to disappear.
I know.
Imagine going to a conference
Yeah.
where your personalized schedule, it changes in real time based on what you're interested in and how you're engaging.
That's wild.
Or picture this, you're navigating the event and augmented reality overlays give you extra information and context, like right there in front of you.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
It'd be like having a personal event concierge right there in your pocket.
Exactly.
But with all this incredible technology available to us, one of the articles brought up a pretty concerning point: our shrinking attention spans.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, our attention span is down to just 8.25 seconds.
Wow.
That's shorter than a goldfish.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty shocking.
So, right?
It really grabs your attention, doesn't it?
It does.
And while that might be simplifying things a bit,
Yeah.
it does highlight a really important point for event organizers.
Yeah.
In a world full of distractions, how do you create experiences that really resonate?
Exactly.
How do you keep people engaged?
Right. So it's not that our attention spans are gone, right? It's more like we've gotten really good at filtering out anything that doesn't immediately grab us.
100%.
Right.
Think about it. People still binge watch entire seasons of shows,
Yeah,
right?
right too.
Or lose themselves in a good book for hours.
It's all about relevance. If the content is good,
Yes.
if it's relevant to us, we can still focus.
So how do event organizers find that balance? How do they work with these, potentially shorter attention spans, but still deliver content that's valuable, that has depth?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
And it's something we'll definitely unpack further as we dig deeper into these articles.
Perfect. Let's do it. So we've got these shrinking attention spans to think about.
Right.
But people still want valuable content, right?
Absolutely.
How do event organizers make that work? How do they create those really engaging experiences?
Well, one thing we're seeing is like a move away from that traditional sage on the stage format.
Yeah. Yeah.
Less of those long lectures.
Right.
More focus on shorter, more interactive sessions.
Makes sense.
Like think bite-sized presentations.
Okay.
Panel discussions where the audience can actually, ask questions.
Yeah.
Or even like workshops where people can actually use what they're learning,
Oh, interesting.
get hands-on. So it's like taking those micro-learning principles and applying them to events.
100%.
So it's easier to process and actually remember the information.
Yes, exactly.
And that actually ties back to what we were saying about smartphones and engagement.
Right.
Because event apps can be like super useful tools for that kind of interaction.
They can, yeah.
You've got your live polling, Q&A features.
Training ball built in.
Even gamified challenges to keep people engaged, even during those longer sessions.
Yeah, it's about making it fun.
Right. But it's not just about like cramming as much interaction into the schedule as possible, right?
No, not at all.
There's more to it than that.
It's about being intentional with the content itself.
Okay.
One of the articles, it really emphasized storytelling
Yeah.
as a way to, stand out from all the noise and have the real impact.
Because stories, they just work, don't they?
They do.
Like, it's how we understand the world.
It's how we're wired.
Yeah.
And when you really think about it, events already have that kind of built-in narrative structure.
That's true.
There's a beginning, a middle, an end.
Yeah.
You've got your characters, the speakers, attendees.
Right.
And this shared experience that unfolds over time.
I like that.
It's really about tapping into those elements consciously.
So instead of just like throwing facts and figures at people,
Right.
find ways to connect with them emotionally.
Exactly.
Make them feel something.
Yeah, 100%. Whether it's a keynote speaker sharing a personal story or a video that evokes a certain emotion.
Yeah.
Or even just like the overall design of the event, the theme.
The vibe.
Yeah, the vibe. There are just so many ways to be creative and weave those narratives into the experience.
So it's like a real shifting perspective for event organizers.
It is.
It's not just about the logistics anymore.
Right.
It's about crafting an experience, a story that people will remember even after the event's over.
Exactly. And those shared experiences are so powerful.
They are.
Think about those conversations that happen between sessions, in the hallway.
Yeah.
The connections you make during those networking breaks.
Right.
Even just that, like collective energy during a really good keynote speech.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Those are the moments that really make events special.
They do.
They do.
And those moments, they're often amplified by the same technology we've been talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
Because people can share their experiences right away with their networks online.
Instantly.
Yeah, so the reach of the event just expands way beyond that physical location.
It's this fascinating interplay between the physical and digital that just keeps evolving.
It really is. It's pretty wild when you think about it, going from those old phones where, like, the most exciting thing was playing Snake.
I know, right?
To these powerful devices that can shape entire event experiences.
It's amazing.
It really is. And it makes you wonder what's next.
Right. Where do we even go from here?
Exactly. So, like, what can event organizers expect to see down the line? What's coming up that could really disrupt the events world?
Well, one thing we're watching closely is immersive tech. Like, virtual reality has been kind of floating around the edges of events for a while now.
Yeah.
But it's never really, taken off.
Right.
But I think as the technology gets better, more accessible, and the experiences become even more compelling,
Yeah.
we could see VR playing a much bigger role, especially for those hybrid events,
Makes sense.
where you're trying to create that feeling of a shared space, even if some people are attending remotely.
It's like almost teleporting people to the event.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
then when you start mixing VR, with things like artificial intelligence.
Oh, wow.
The possibilities get even more interesting.
Okay, like what?
Well, imagine going to a virtual conference, right?
Yeah.
But the AI is actually personalizing your experience as you go,
Whoa.
recommending sessions based on your interests, or even suggesting people you should connect with.
So it's basically like having your own AI event planner.
Right. And then there's augmented reality, which just keeps blurring those lines between like the real and the digital.
Yeah.
Like picture yourself walking into a conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
And through your phone or even like some cool AR glasses,
Oh?
you're getting real-time information about everyone and everything around you.
That's kind of like a heads-up display, right?
Exactly. Or you can even interact with like virtual parts of the event that are seamlessly woven into the physical space.
So it's like games or those info booths, but they're virtual.
Exactly. It sounds futuristic, but this is the direction things are heading in.
It's pretty amazing.
It is.
So any final thoughts for event organizers out there who are trying to navigate all this new tech?
You know, I think the most important thing is to stay curious and be willing to experiment
I like that.
and never lose sight of the human element.
Yeah.
Because as amazing as the technology is, at the end of the day, events are about connection.
That's so true.
They're about those shared moments.
It's about the people.
Exactly.
Well said. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
And for you listening, we encourage you to keep exploring the articles we've been talking about.
Yeah, keep learning.
Think about how these new technologies might shape your own events in the years to come.
It's going to be exciting to see what happens.
It is. Until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep.
See you next time.